3, 2, 1. Thank you for joining the RTC Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation Operations Management Committee meeting. Mr. Damiani, staff is ready for you to begin the meeting.
Thank you. Good morning. Joe Damiani with the RTC for the record. I'd like to call to order the February 4th, 2021 meeting of the Freeway and Arterial System of Transportation Operations Management Committee. RTC staff will begin with a roll call of committee members, introduce staff on the line, and also touch on a few housekeeping items.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Reagan Lively, Management Analyst for the RTC, for the record. I will be calling your name in alphabetical order. Please confirm your attendance as I read your name. John Ashton.
Here.
Michelle Castro.
Here.
Joe Damiani.
Here.
Irene Lamb.
Here.
Tim Reisman.
Here.
And Rodney Schilling.
Here.
Please note that we have a few RTC staff on the line for today's meeting. This includes Mr. John Penuelas, Senior Director of Engineering, Ms. Teresa Gaisher, Director of FAST, Mr. Walter Vedroxa, Regional Project Engineer, Mr. Lonnie Brown, Manager Traffic System Maintenance, and Ms. Carmen Perkins, Administrative Specialist. As Mr. Damiani mentioned, I have a few housekeeping items to go over. When Mr. Damiani asks for comments from the committee or calls for a vote, please remember to unmute yourself before speaking. Remember to state your name for the record before providing comment. Be sure to mute your line if you are not speaking. Voting will be done verbally. Mr. Damiani will call for ayes and nays. If there are no nays, then the motion will carry. If there are nays, then a roll call vote will be required. In the event of a roll call vote, please wait for your name to be read to provide your vote. Mr. Damiani will call for any comments or questions after an item has been presented. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Mrs. Lively. Ms. Geiser, for the first item, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. And members of the committee, Teresa Gaisher, RTC Director of FAST for the record. The first item on the agenda is to conduct the first citizens participation period. On March 22nd, 2020, the State of Nevada Executive Department issued Declaration of Emergency Directive 006, which suspended the requirement to have a physical location for public meetings. Pursuant to Directive 006, and for the health and safety of the community, this meeting is being held telephonically. To allow for a public participation, the RTC is accepting public comments via email at publiccomments@rtcsnv.com. Comments can be submitted to be read aloud or to be added directly to the written record. Ms. Reagan Lively will read the public comments received by the RTC.
Thank you. Joe Damiani with the RTC. This is the first time set aside for public comment. This time is limited to comments on items included on the agenda. Comments will be limited to the first 500 words, with the remaining words to be included in the written record. Do we have any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Reagan Lively, Management Analyst for the record. I do just also want to mention that Joseph Norby has joined the call as well. And I know that John Penuelas does have one comment.
Yes, thank you, Reagan. John Penuelas, RTC for the record. I think people paying close attention would notice that when Teresa introduced herself, she introduced herself as the Director of FAST and not the Acting Director of FAST. And that is because she has been promoted into the role, and I'm very happy to announce that. And I wanted to thank the OMC committee for their overwhelming votes of confidence in Ms. Gaiser's ability to lead us into the future. So we're excited that she's on board. We're even more excited that we're going to be on board in her new role, and even more excited that we are going to be backfilling her position of Manager of Engineering keep keep up on our website, and you should see that posting here in the next week or so. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, John. At this time, there are no additional public comments. Mr. Damiani, that concludes the public comments received.
Thank you. Moving on. Teresa?
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Teresa Gazer for the record. Item 2 is to approve the minutes from the December 3rd, 2020 meeting. The minutes are in order and ready for your approval.
Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Joseph Norby, City of Las Vegas, for the record, motion to approve the minutes as provided.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
And all those opposed say nay. Okay. No objections. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Teresa?
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Teresa Gazer for the record. Item 3 is to receive the FAST status, activity, and call status complaint report. For this, I will open it up first to Mr. Lonnie Brown, Manager of Traffic Systems Maintenance, followed by Mr. Walter Verdraska, Principal Project Engineer, and then I will provide updates. Mr. Lonnie Brown.
Lonnie Brown, Manager, Traffic System Maintenance. I will start with my AMS team. They completed the communications on Cheyenne Corridor project from Tenaya to Lamb with new fiber, CCTVs, and network switches. Completed the communication on the Harmon project from Decatur to Valley View with new CCTVs and network switches. Completed the communications on Hualapai project, Cheyenne to Grand Teton, new CCTVs and network switches. Replaced over 25 new CCTVs throughout the valley. They installed new locations of 25 CCTVs throughout the valley. Restored comm to Craig, MLK, and Las Vegas Boulevard. And they had other smaller throughout the valley. They cleaned the CCTVs on the strip for the New Year's Eve and upgraded 20 network switches from 100 meg to 1 gig to increase bandwidth for future upgrades by the agencies and Metro PD. My FMS team are still doing SST testing on Project 3740, that's I-15 Apex to Mesquite. Doing SAT testing on Project 3703, I-15 Star Project. They're doing the SALT testing on BW 2017A, that's Clark County 215. Ongoing project support on Project 3792, 3724, which is the US 95 Centennial Bowl, and the I-15 CC 215 North project. Continue assisting NDOT contractor with the migration project between Hub 18 and Prim, Nevada. They started their calibration, they're calibrating detectors on I-15 Flamingo to Sahara, calibrating detectors on US 95 MLK to Rainbow, doing PM detection on I-15 to Trop on both directions, assisted contractors with damage to fiber on 215 and Wigwam, and reconnected vandalized power feeds to the gantry at I-15 and Sahara. My fiber team completed the fiber termination at Hub 3 that was left by a contractor. Spliced at Rainbow Flamingo for the Valley View Harmon circuit. Spliced, tested, and assisted NDOT IT in connecting the Neon project to D1 and the Grant Sawyer building. Located damaged fiber at 215 Buffalo off-ramp. completed emergency splice at Bonneville and the railroad track because due to vandalism. Went out to verify a hit conduit and cable in Henderson at Val Verde. Continue to work with IT and contractor for the Valley-wide core system project. And continue to assist contractor with the firework in North Las Vegas. And that's all I have.
Walt Vedraska, senior engineer here at FAST. The signal operations team continues to transition signal controllers off of the I2 system onto ATMS. We now show that there are 7 intersections left to convert, so we're almost there. FAST staff has been monitoring food distribution locations at casinos and schools, the COVID-19 testing and vaccine locations across the valley, the holiday travel and shopping period at the end of December, and all the New Year's Eve events, especially along the Strip. Staff is continuing to monitor corridors across the valley as the traffic continues to increase, and we're making adjustments as we need to. Staff continues to help plan upcoming events like future Raiders games and night games, and events at both of the stadiums when they open again. And they programmed 8 new controllers around the valley, 2 of which are Sammy Davis and Resorts World in Clark County and Martin L. King with Brooks in North Las Vegas. And they modified 78 controllers for various reasons throughout the valley. FAST staff is working with Clark County on the 62 intersection DSRC CCTV GPS preemption upgrade project that is basically bordered by Las Vegas Boulevard, Flamingo, Decatur, and Sunset Road. Those 62 intersections are part of the 78 that I mentioned in the previous statement. And then FAST staff responded to complaints, assisted agency staff, and retimed intersections, interchanges, and corridors across the valley. An example would be the Fort Apache / Rampart corridor from Sahara to Summerlin needed an upgrade, and we did that this week. So that is my report.
Thank you, Mr. Brown and Mr. Vedraska. This is Teresa Gazer for the record again. I will present the information that is included with item number 3 in your agenda packages. And this item is also available on the RTC website at this meeting's agenda. First item that is being presented is the total issues by type and by agency. This is the issues that the FAST team has received through phone calls, Ask FAST, and Seeing Orange. As you can see on this slide, the 2 primary items that we have received this information from is regarding traffic signals and media requests. And then the next slide shows it as a breakdown by the respective agencies. The next slide is regarding the ATMS work orders, and this is over the last 2 months since our last OMC meeting. AMS is the arterial management system, and this is the distribution by agencies of the number of total work orders that the AMS team has worked on. The next slide discusses the breakdown of the AMS issues that have been resolved by agency. These items include, as you can see in this bar chart, communications, our CCTV cameras, general maintenance and parts replaced, as well as cabling. The last slide that's included is for FMS work orders. This is freeway management system. And this is broken down for all of the items and devices that we work on behalf of the Nevada Department of Transportation in the southern region of Nevada. This is the breakout in terms of communication, CCTV cameras, construction support, regular preventive maintenance or PM, and vandalism. That is the updates regarding those items. And then one additional item that I'd like to mention is that we have 2 retirements occurring in the FAST division in this month in February. One of them is Mr. Keith Pierce, our senior traffic systems technician. The other is Mr. Kenneth Hutchins, our senior traffic engineering technician. So we congratulate them and wish them health and happiness in their retirement. And we have opened up these 2 positions for internal recruitment posting within the FAST division. So we will give you an update on the status of that in our next OMC meeting. That concludes our FAST updates, and back to you, Mr. Damiani.
Joe, I believe you are still muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, and Joe Damiani, RTC. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, hearing no questions or comments, we will move on to the next item. Ms. Gazer.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Teresa Gazer for the record. Item 4 is to receive the Nevada Department of Transportation FAST Intelligent Transportation System Operations Report, performed as part of NDOT'S contract. Mr. Rodney Schilling from NDOT will provide the report. Mr. Schilling.
Thank you, Teresa, and congratulations to your promotion. For the record, it's Rod Schilling, Assistant Chief Traffic Operations Engineer for the Nevada Department of Transportation. For the report, we have some projects that are under design, which is Project Neon. Our Traffic Operations Technology section, in coordination with our project management consultant, are still reviewing all of the fiber testing documentation, and this is one of our final steps to be completed. Projects that are under design is our adaptive lighting study with regards to our standards, and a pilot project that is being focused up in the northern area of Nevada. The planning process is moving forward, and we have a draft concept ready to go for the design, and it's expected to be finalized this past month, just the end of January. So the concept will be presented to our senior leadership within traffic operations prior to moving forward with that design. Some of the programs and projects, we're still working with the wrong way driver. As part of that implementation, we're doing the Federal Highway Wrong Way Driver Study. Report 2 of 6 was submitted on January 25th of 21, prior to our submittal date, which was February 1st. This was a very good report for that biennium report. There was a total of 54 wrong way driver events that were validated, and of those, 87% were corrected. So we believe that this is a really substantial report, to FHWA to show the success of this wrong way driver implementation. That can be made available, and I can share that with everybody to show you some of the other mitigations and stuff that are associated with that, and part of our implementation plan as we're moving forward. So some of the other projects that are out there, of course, we're still looking at those to develop part of that implementation plan. We're working with our traffic safety division to see how we can move forward with those, especially where we already have infrastructure in place. And a lot of those are within the Las Vegas area. So once we have that implementation plan ready, we're hoping to get that programmed and scheduled, hopefully within this fiscal year, to make that effective within the Vegas area. And then, of course, there's a couple up here in the northern area too, where we already have infrastructure. With that in mind, we got to understand that we got to be within MUTCD compliance. So we won't be able to use the red RFBs. However, that will be, part of the study, and that will also measure the effectiveness between the two of those type of implementations. Part of the DMS safety related messages, there was a competition that was put forward. We're looking to select a winner from that. So most of those campaign messages that were brought forth through our public information offside, those are being scheduled to be selected here this month. And then we'll move forward with that, and then we have to get our executive leadership involved in that too prior to we selecting that winner. Part of the 511 traveler information, we did go forward with a request for approach on our on-call service providers. This is to look at a research and recommendations project. That kickoff began last month, and with that, hopefully we'll be able to develop, that recommendations report to either look at either an upgrade or a replacement from that system. Next slide, please. Part of the TIM Coalition, the planning meetings for Northern, Southern, and Rural have been held during the week of January 25th. Part of that is to establish everything for the calendar year of 2021. Some of the topics that we've been discussing are training, the continuing of the coalition meetings, especially still during this period of COVID, and how we can conduct those virtually, and looking at any other things regarding some of the policies and changes to be included as part of that annual meetings. The Freeway Service Patrol, we are looking to develop an RFP for the continuation of these services to be effective later in November of 2022. We hope to release this RFP by April of 2021. With the hazmat, there has been some challenges with this. We're looking to do an amendment to the structure of the hazmat agreement that is underway due to the recent difficulties that we've been working with our provider, and they've had difficulties receiving payments from those responsible parties. We've worked with our executive leadership, and they've given us the green light to go forward with an amendment to that existing Clean Harbors agreement, and we hope to have that moving forward this month. Under our TISMO program, the steering committee meeting is going to be held on February 24th. During this meeting, we're looking to engage the team and provide some updates with the progress with our TISMO initiative, look at our website launch that's been in development, and that's going to serve as a basic hub for all of our TISMO related information. And within that in mind too, we've developed a lot of the business cases within all of the other affected divisions within the department. We hope to finalize those as well. For the WayCare program, we're looking forward for the WayCare 2.0, and that's scheduled for the week of February 8th. And for the FAST operations agreement, the draft scope is out for final review. A lot of those comments were due back at the end of January. We reviewed those. We've been meeting regularly with FAST and the other entities within the department. We're looking to get this submitted, through the legal review, hopefully, during this first week of February. In addition, as part of our advanced signal warning systems and the guidance, that has been formalized, and that is available and was completed with our executive leadership. And then both the District 1 and District 2 South construction projects have been completed. The District 2 North, we're going forward with a phased approach. So with that in mind, it requires a lot more temporary traffic control. So that will be a 4-digit contract, and that's going to be administered through NDOT Roadway. And that's in coordination with the City of Sparks, of course. So the follow-up study will be conducted as well to look at the before and after results of this advanced signal warning system implementation. And I believe that's the end of my presentation. And of note, I just wanted to follow up on one other item. I want to thank you guys prior, I think it was back in November, where I gave a presentation in regards to the interim approval, number 14, for the optional use of the green pavement marking for shared lane use. I move forward with that just as an information to everybody. I do have a draft letter ready to go to FHWA headquarters for that interim approval. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schilling. I'll open it up. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Okay, hearing no questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item. Ms. Gazer.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Teresa Gazer for the record again. Item 5 is to discuss new transportation technologies and their use in measuring, monitoring, and enhancing performance on Southern Nevada roadways. To start, I'd like to give an update on the status of the 2 grants that the RTC FAST division had submitted. RTC was not awarded the Work Zone Data Exchange Grant. RTC was awarded the ATC MTD grant, which stands for Advanced Transportation and Congestion Management Technologies Deployment. Our partners on this project are NDOT, Nevada Highway Patrol, UNLV, and Waycare. This project is for the development of an integrated safety technology corridor on US 95 from I-15 to Summerlin Parkway. I will provide continued updates on this project moving forward. The next update is on the Eastern Avenue Adaptive Traffic Signal Control Technology Trial Project. This project encompasses 14 signalized intersections from Beckler to Pebble. Our project partners include City of Henderson, Clark County. We are currently using the Rhythm Engineering Adaptive Traffic Signal Control Technology, and our project consultant is Ludian. This project began on October of 2020 and will conclude at the end of February this month, 2021. Overall, we have seen an average 25% reduction in travel times along Eastern Avenue, and we will give you an update in the next meeting on the final outcomes of this project. That concludes our new technology updates, and back to you, Mr. Damiani.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing no questions or comments, we'll move on to the next item. Ms. Gazer.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. This is Teresa Gazer for the record. Item 6 is to discuss topics of interest. This is an opportunity for committee members to share updates or information with other members.
Is there anything that a member of the committee would like to share?
Yes, this is Rod Schilling for the record, Assistant Chief Traffic Operations, NDOT. I think one topic of interest that we're moving forward with too from the department is a HOV pilot study. So we're getting prepared to issue an RFP here real soon. So to look at the operational effectiveness of the HOVs within the valley there. So what this will do is kind of give us the idea if we can roll back the hours of operation. So that's getting ready here real soon to launch with that in mind. So we'll be coordinating with FAST on that effort.
Thank you, Mr. Schilling. Any other questions or comments from the committee? All right, hearing no more, we'll move on to the next item. Ms. Gazer.
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Teresa Gazer for the record. The last item on the agenda is the final citizens' participation.
This is the second time set aside for public comment. Just a reminder that comments will be limited to the first 500 words, with the remaining words to be included in the written record. Do we have any comments?
Thank you, Mr. Damiani. Reagan Lively again for the record. There are no public comments at this time. That concludes the public comments received.
Thank you. If there are no additional comments, I will close the item. This meeting is adjourned.